अब ये last time we have discussed solubility. Last time we have discussed solubility of group 2 carbonate, sulfate and hydroxide, right? So today we will start entropy. 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 What is entropy? Entropy is the degree of disorderness. What is entropy? Entropy is degree of disorderness. Entropy is degree of disorderness. It is measure of degree of disorderness. Now you can see that we have solid particles. They vibrate. They do not move, they vibrate. So they less random, less randomness, less randomness, or less disorder, or less entropy. Entropy. Now these are water molecule. These are gas particles. So gas particles have more entropy, more randomness, more disorder, more entropy, more disorderness, more entropy. So it means when we move from solid to gas, entropy increases. When we move solid to liquid, entropy increases. Entropy means disorderness. Solid to liquid, entropy increases. Entropy increases. Similarly, liquid to solid, entropy decreases. Liquid to gas, entropy increases. So always remember this cycle. This is solid, this is liquid, this is gas. Solid to liquid, entropy increases. Liquid to gas, entropy increases. Symbol of entropy is S. Symbol of entropy is S. Symbol of entropy is S. So delta S increases. Liquid to gas, delta S increases. Increases means positive. Increases means positive. Solid to liquid, delta S. Yes, solid to liquid entropy decreases or increases? Or liquid to solid, yes.
Sir, it increases solid to liquid.
Decreases. Liquid to solid decreases. Decreases. Decreases means negative. Gas to liquid, delta S decreases. Now compare question. Compare delta S. H2O solid convert into H2O liquid. Yes. Entropy increases, decreases.
Sir, increases.
Delta S increases. Positive. Okay. Liquid to gas. Yes.
Sir, increases.
Increases. Number 3. Calcium carbonate solid versus mercury liquid. Which one has more entropy?
Sir, mercury liquid.
Mercury liquid. Your answer is wrong. Calcium carbonate, its exception, has higher entropy than mercury. Whether mercury is liquid. However, mercury is liquid, but calcium carbonate is solid, but mercury has very, very low entropy. That's why calcium carbonate has more entropy, higher entropy than mercury. Now, calcium carbonate versus calcium oxide. So you can see that calcium carbonate has more atom. Calcium oxide has lesser atom. As the number of atom increases, entropy also increases. As number of atom increases, entropy increases. So calcium carbonate has more entropy than calcium oxide. Next point, soft material has more entropy than harder. For example, carbon graphite, carbon diamond. Yes, which one has more entropy?
Sir, carbon graphite.
Why?
Because it's soft.
Yes.
Softer than diamond.
Yes, carbon graphite is softer than carbon diamond. Carbon diamond is the hardest material. Soft material has high energy, high entropy. Okay. Next point. As number of gaseous product increases, entropy also increases. As number of gaseous product increases, entropy also increases. As number of gaseous product increases, entropy also increases. For example, A plus B gives 6C. Gaseous, gaseous, gaseous. So which one has more entropy? Oh, sorry. Tell me either entropy increases or decreases.
Sir, it increases.
Increases. Why increases?
Because there's six molecules of carbon at the end.
Because in the product we have more particle. So more particles in product side. More particles in product side. More particle in product side. Now, the formula of entropy change is summation as product minus summation as reactant, just like enthalpy, as we did in AS. So delta S is equal to S product minus delta S reactant. Now make the heading entropy and graph. Entropy and graph. Entropy and graph. Entropy and graph. This is 0. This is 100 degrees centigrade. This is 0 degrees centigrade. On y-axis, you have entropy. Unit of entropy is joules per Kelvin per mole. 0 to 100 degrees centigrade, entropy increases. But at 0 degrees centigrade, entropy increases, temperature remain constant. 0 to 100, entropy increases, and then suddenly it also rises up. This is solid or this is ice. This one is liquid. Water. Gas.
Sir.
Yes.
So, sir, when there is change in state, entropy will remain constant. It won't change.
No. It's entropy. It rises up. You can see that here we have increased value of entropy.
So, but then, sir, Why do we have the straight lines sections then?
Straight line indicates that temperature uh, fixed during this period, because liquid, you can see that, you can say that this is melting. So you know that during melting temperature remain constant. This is boiling. During boiling temperature remain constant. That's why we have fixed x-axis line, but y-axis increases.
Okay, sir.
So entropy increases. As the temperature increases, entropy increases. So write another point. Entropy is directly proportional to temperature. So when you increase the temperature, entropy increases. Entropy increases. When you increase the temperature, entropy increases. Now next. Now Gibbs free energy. Gibbs free energy. Symbol is delta G standard. Standard Gibbs free energy. It is the energy which is required to do any useful work. It is the energy which is required to do any useful work. Delta G is equal to, the formula of delta G is delta H minus T delta S. T delta S. T delta S. Whenever value of delta G is negative, a reaction is spontaneous. Spontaneous means ice automatically convert into liquid. This is spontaneous. This is spontaneity. When something directly convert into solid to liquid, the reaction is spontaneous. Or you can say that the reaction is feasible. It's a fact. When delta G, the value of delta G is negative, reaction is spontaneous. Now look at this delta G equation again. So you have two cases. If delta G is positive. Second, if delta H is negative. So can you tell me what is the meaning of positive and negative? If delta H is positive, it
So
means the
positive
reaction
means it's
is
endothermic.
endothermic. Very good. And negative means
It's exothermic.
exothermic. Now for if delta H is positive and you increase the temperature, in endothermic, when you increase the temperature, Now listen, when you increase the temperature for endothermic, when you increase the temperature for endothermic, when you increase the temperature for endothermic, it means T delta S increases. Because when you increase the temperature, this factor also increases. This value increases, so the value of delta G become more negative. Reaction is feasible. Are you getting my point or not? If delta H is
Yes.
positive, if delta H is positive and you increase the temperature, T delta S become more positive. When T delta is more positive, delta G become more negative. Now listen again. When you increase the temperature, when you increase the temperature, T delta S become more positive. So when this value is more positive, the delta G become more negative. Any question regarding this statement?
No, sir, it's clear.
Delta S become more positive, delta G become more negative. Now look at for the exothermic.
Sir,
Exo
more
means,
positive.
yes, ask me.
Sir, T delta S more positive क्यों हो रहा है?
Now listen, if T delta S, when you increase the temperature, when you increase the temperature, when you increase the temperature, this value increases. Let's suppose here you have bracket. Now, when you increase the temperature, T delta S become more positive. If this one is
Okay,
more
sir.
positive, so minus plus minus delta G become negative.
सही सर.
ठीक है. Next, for exothermic, when delta H is negative, when you increase the temperature, T delta S become more positive. T delta S become more positive. This value become more negative. This is also negative. Reaction become more feasible. We will discuss this phenomena again when solving past paper. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Sir,
now, yes.
sir, if T delta is increased, but it's still lesser than delta H, then
That's why.
entropy will still be positive, right?
Yes. Here we have more complexity, right? Because sometimes delta is positive, sometimes delta is negative, sometimes delta is positive, sometimes delta is negative. So we will discuss in numericals, right? So quite easy to learn at that time. It's my opinion. Should
Okay,
we?
sir.
Okay. So leave it for the numerical. Next is graph and delta G. Graph and delta G. Here we have delta G. Delta G kilojoule per mole plus 20, 30, 40, 50, minus 10, minus 20, minus 30, minus 40, minus 50. Here we have temperature. So it means here you have 25 degrees centigrade. Here we have 50 degrees centigrade. Here we have 75 degrees centigrade. Here we have 100 degrees centigrade. So draw a straight line passing through 100 degrees centigrade. Yes. This is the graph. Negative gradient and pass this line through 100 degrees centigrade. So after 100 degrees centigrade, after this temperature, this negative values indicates feasibility of the reaction. Any question regarding graph? Yes, any question? Are you listening my voice?
Yes, sir. No questions.
No question. Okay. Now find maximum temperature at which a reaction become feasible. So you know that delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So let's suppose for feasibility the value of delta G must be negative. So let's suppose the value of delta G is 0. Then 0 is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So T delta S is equal to delta H. So T is equal to delta H over delta S. So T should be lesser than delta H divided by delta S. So this is very, very important formula. Through this formula, you can easily find the temperature. This temperature is maximum temperature at which reaction occurs. Yes. Are you getting my word or not?
सर डेल्टा जी का क्या मतलब हुआ?
डेल्टा जी का मतलब होता है बेटे गिब्स फ्री एनर्जी. डेल्टा जी मीन्स गिब्स फ्री एनर्जी. एनर्जी which is required to do some useful work. डेल्टा जी एक ऐसी एनर्जी है जिससे हम काम करते हैं किसी भी रिएक्शन में. डेल्टा जी means feasibility of any chemical reaction. If the value of delta G is negative, it means reaction become feasible. Automatically होगा, खुद ब खुद होगा. If delta G is negative, reaction become feasible.
और सर डेल्टा जी के जीरो होने का क्या मतलब हुआ?
बेटे डेल्टा G zero मैंने खुद रखा to find that to drive the formula. You know that above the at negative value reaction is feasible. Negative value पे reaction feasible है. Negative value पे reaction feasible है. Minus 0.1 reaction is feasible. Minus 0.00001 reaction is feasible. But above negative value, the lowest value is 0. That's why I put 0. 0 पे क्या होगा? अगर 0 पे temperature निकाल लेंगे, it means this temperature should be lesser than the obtained value. This temperature is the maximum temperature at which reaction happens. ये वो टेम्परेचर होगा जिस पे रिएक्शन हो जाएगा, उससे कम पे नहीं होगा, उससे ज्यादा पे हो जाएगा. ये मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर, उससे कम पे हो जाएगा, उससे ज्यादा पे नहीं होगा. लेट्स सपोज आपका आंसर आता है 200 केल्विन. सो 200 केल्विन इज द मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर. इसके बाद रिएक्शन नहीं होगा, इससे कम पे हो जाएगा. 100 पे होगा, 250 पे होगा, 30 पे हो जाएगा. So this 200 Kelvin would be the maximum temperature at which reaction would happen. बोलो बात समझ आई है?
जी सर ठीक.
Okay, any question regarding Gibbs free energy? Yes.
Sir.
Yes. Yes, Bete. I am unable to listen to your voice.
Sir, why is the reaction only feasible when? Sir, can you hear me now?
When?
Sir, when delta G is negative, why is the reaction feasible only then?
Okay. Uh, we have a lot of factor behind this fact, right? At that level, at A2 level, you just memorize that whenever the value of delta G is negative, the reaction is feasible. A lot of energies are involved in it, right? Several physics formulas are, thermodynamic rules are applied. So for chemistry purpose, just remember that whenever the value of delta G is negative, reaction becomes feasible.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now move to the past paper question, right? Yes. This is solution. This is latest atomization. Yes, Gibbs free energy. This question is yes. Now look at this question. This is reaction 1. This is reaction 2. So entropy is given, formation is given. Now define what is meant by the term entropy of a system. Yes. Yes. Tell me the definition of
The
entropy.
measure of disorderness.
Measure of disorderness. This is May June 41. Yes. Measure of disorderness. Yes, beta. Yes, can anyone define what is entropy of a system? Can you hear me?
Sir, measure of the disorder of a system.
Of a system. Of a system. Yes. So entropy is the measure of disorderness of a system. So it is the measure of disorderness of a system. Of a system. Now use the data in table 5.1 to calculate delta G for the reaction 2 at 25 degrees centigrade. Reaction 2. This is reaction 2. So this is reaction 2. This is reaction 2. So for reaction 2, first of all, step 1. Step 1. Find delta H. This is step 1. So delta H is equal to summation H product minus summation H reactant. So summation H product is ammonia. Ammonia is minus 45.9. Then carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is minus 393.5. This is enthalpy of product, minus reactant. Reactant is minus 101.7 plus water minus 241.8. Now, can you give me the answer? Yes, can you tell me the answer?
Sir, minus
Sir, minus
95.9.
Okay, minus, sorry, 95.9.
yes, sir.
Okay, kilojoule per mole. This is step number 1. This is step number 1. Now step 2. Now step 2, find delta S. Step 2, find delta S. Same formula. Delta S is equal to summation S product minus summation S reactant. Summation S product minus S reactant. So product is ammonia and carbon dioxide. So 192.8 plus 213.8 minus reactants are 238.2, 188.8. Yes.
Minus 20.4 hours, sir.
Minus 20.4 kilojoule per mole. Correct answer, beta. Now step 3. Now
Sir,
step
ये
3.
किलोजूल से नहीं हो सकता.
If the given unit is joules, if the given unit is joule, so we must write joules, right? Here you have joules, right? So it should be joules. Minus 20.4 joules per Kelvin per mole. For Gibbs energy, you have to convert it into kilojoule. So divided by 1000. Now it would be minus 0.0204 kilojoule per Kelvin per mole. Now step 3 is find delta G. Find delta G. So delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Now put the values and get the answer. Temperature is 25 degrees centigrade. It means 298. So temperature is 25 plus 273, it's 298. So put the values. Delta G is minus 95.9. Temperature is 298. And delta S is minus 0.0204.
Sir, minus 89.8.
Okay. Minus
89.82.
okay, minus 89.8 kilojoule per mole. Minus 89.8 kilojoule per mole. Now next question is again 2023 February March. Now this question, zinc metal can be obtained. Beta, do you get the same answer? Minus 89.8. Beta, are you in the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you get the same answer? Minus 89.8.
Yes, sir. Same answer.
Okay. Now question 2023 February March, right? 2023 February March. Variant 42. So zinc metal can be obtained in a two-step process as shown. So step number 1, step number 2. Explain the sign of the entropy change of the reaction in step 1. Yes. Can anyone tell me the sign of the entropy change? Yes. Can anyone tell me the sign of the entropy change? Either it is increases or decreases?
Sir, decreases.
Decreases. Here we have 5 mole. Here we have 4 mole. So decreases. Delta S negative. And what about the step 2?
Increases.
Increases. So the answer of question number 1 is that sign. Examiner asked about the sign. So sign is negative. Negative decreases because 5 molecule of reactant produce 4 molecules of product. That's why entropy decreases. Now calculate delta S. Can you tell me the formula to find the delta S?
Sir, product minus reactant.
Product minus reactant. Very good. So the formula is delta S is equal to summation S product minus summation S reactant. So product is zinc oxide is the product. So 2 times zinc oxide plus 2 times sulfur dioxide
Sir, they're asking
minus,
for part 2, step 2.
use the data in table 1.1. Oh, very good. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Very good, BT. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Very good. So examiner asked about the step 2. So the formula would be zinc plus carbon monoxide minus zinc oxide plus carbon. So zinc is 50.8, carbon monoxide is 197.7, minus zinc oxide is 43.7, carbon is 5.7. Can you tell me the answer? This is from the 9701, variant 42, February, March 23, question number 1. Yes,
So 199.1.
191.1. Am I right?
Sir, 199.
199. 199.1 kilojoule per mole. Kilojoule per mole. Okay. 199.1 kilojoule per mole. So entropy is positive. Now you can also tell the answer, write the answer, 5 molecules, or you can also give the answer with respect to gases, right? You can see that here we have 3 mole of gases. Here you have 2 mole of gases. So number of mole of gases decreases. That's why entropy decreases. Mole of gases decreases. Mole of gases decreases. That's why entropy decreases. Now find delta G. So delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So delta H is 733. Temperature is 800. So temperature is equal to 800 plus 273. It would be 1073 Kelvin. So 1073 Kelvin. Delta S is 218. Yes.
Sir, minus 233.18.
Okay. The answer is wrong because we have committed a mistake. That is the unit conversion. Always remember the unit of S should be kilojoule. So delta S is equal to 218 divided by 1000. So 0.218 kilojoule per Kelvin per mole. So it should be 0.218. Yes.
$499.1.
494 90
9.1.
499.1 kilojoule per mole. Reaction is not feasible because the value is positive. 499.1. Yes. Now 2022 October number variant 42. Now calcium fluoride can be synthesized directly from its element. The value of delta HF of calcium fluoride is minus 1214. Predict the sign of entropy for this synthesis. Explain your answer. Yes. Can you predict the sign of the entropy?
Sir, negative.
Why negative? Negative means endothermic,
Negative.
right? Yes. Why endothermic? Yes. Can you predict the sign of the delta S? You told me positive. So can you tell me why?
सर साइन नेगेटिव नहीं होगा बिकॉज गैस से क्लोरीन गैस से फिर सॉलिड में आ रही है.
Hmm, I think where is it is written? Solid to gaseous. It is not written.
सर उन्होंने कहा है ना सिंथेसाइज डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम इट्स एलिमेंट्स, तो हम कैल्शियम प्लस F2 से नहीं बनाएंगे.
F2 से नहीं बनाएंगे. Where we have the equation calcium fluoride. इधर तो है ही नहीं हमारे पास कैल्शियम फ्लोराइड. एक मिनट रुकना, ठीक है. ये कह रहा है कि डेल्टा H is negative, right? So एक काम करते हैं, इसकी इक्वेशन बनाते हैं, राइट? सो कैल्शियम गैसियस +2 +2 fluoride gaseous, calcium fluoride solid is formed. So how many gaseous particle in the product side, in the reactant side?
सर वो तो डेल्टा एच फॉर्मेशन दे रहे हैं हमें, तो हम स्टैंडर्ड उससे नहीं लेंगे, स्टैंडर्ड कंडीशन से.
स्टैंडर्ड कंडीशन से तो नहीं लेंगे ना. अगर स्टैंडर्ड, अभी जरा मेरी बात समझना, ठीक है? माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह तुम बहुत ज़हीन हो भाई, वेरी गुड. हमने ना उसने एंट्रोपी, इसने कहा है ना, इसने कहा लेटेस्ट एनर्जी, तो मैं तुम्हारी बात मान लेता हूँ, ठीक है? शायद तुम्हारी बात मान लेता हूँ, ठीक है? कैल्शियम सॉलिड, फ्लोरीन गैसियस. अब बताओ क्या हुआ? So sign is
सर
negative.
गैस के मोल्स डिक्रीज हो रहे हैं.
Exactly. Gas convert into solid because gas molecule decreases and gas convert into solid. Now second part, use the value of delta HF given in E and your answer to E2, E1. To predict how the feasibility of this reaction of this synthesis will change with increasing temperature. So feasibility, temperature increases, delta H is -1214, delta S is negative, so delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. When you increase the temperature, T delta S become more negative because delta S is negative. When you increase the temperature, T delta S become more negative. Why? Because delta S is negative. As T delta S become more negative, delta G become more positive. Reaction become less feasible. Are you getting my point or not? बेटे बात समझ आ रही है?
सर दोबारा एक्सप्लेन कर देंगे.
Now listen. When you increase the temperature, you know that delta S is negative. So when you increase the temperature, T delta S become more negative. As this become more negative, negative plus. So the value of delta G positive.
ओके सर समझ में आ गया.
Okay, लिखेंगे बेटे. As temperature increases, T delta S become more negative. Why? Because delta S is negative. Become more negative. So delta G become positive. Feasibility of reaction decreases. Feasibility of the reaction decreases.
Sir,
Yes.
so can we also relate it to the equilibrium position? Because the forward reaction is exothermic, so if the temperature is increased, the reactants will increase and then a less CF2 will form.
There is no equilibrium. There is no equilibrium. So the best way to give the answer of the feasibility of the reaction is this. This is only acceptable.
Okay, sir.
You told me about the transition metal chemistry, right? Where we have equilibrium, where we have I think KPC, right? K stability. You are telling me K stability of transition metals, right? In that case, we will consider your statement, right? But whenever we are discussing about the Gibbs free energy, only discuss these points. जब आपको डेल्टा जी के बारे में कहा जाए, फिजिबिलिटी के बारे में कहा जाए, तो ये लिखेंगे. जो आपने सवाल पूछा है ना, वो ट्रांजिशन मेटल के अंदर है. ट्रांजिशन मेटल में डिफरेंट सिनेरियो है, वो डिफरेंट केमिस्ट्री है. एनी क्वेश्चन?
No, sir, it's okay.
Yes. Explain what is meant by the entropy. Yes, what is entropy? Yes, what is entropy? It is the measure of disorderness of a system. Disorderness of a system. Any question? Okay, now read question of second part. Potassium chloride is very soluble in water at 20 degrees centigrade. Explain the solubility of potassium chloride by reference to the change in entropy delta S. Yes. Can you give me the answer? Yes.
So the entropy will increase because the particles will be more spread out when they are dissolved.
Okay. You know that in solid, particles are organized. In water, particles are very organized. When we mix both of them, particle disorderness created, right? So because of the disorderness, entropy increases. That's why solubility increases. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes, sir.
So potassium chloride okay. So potassium chloride is very soluble. So answer is potassium chloride solid. Here we have aqua sign. Here we have another aqua sign. So delta S increases because two ions are formed, two aqueous ions are formed because two aqueous ions are formed. Two aqueous ions are formed. Which are mobilized or free to move, which are free to move. That's why entropy increases. Next question. Use the Gibbs equation and your answer to E2 to predict whether potassium chloride is more soluble in water at 20 degrees centigrade, 80 degrees centigrade. Yes. Delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. The value of delta S is positive. Delta H is not given. Only entropy is given. Yes. When you increase the temperature, T delta S become more positive. So the value of delta G more negative. Reaction become feasible. Are you getting my point or not? Bete, are you listening my voice?
Oh, yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. When as temperature increases, as temperature increases, T delta S, as temperature increases, T delta S become more positive because delta S is positive. As temperature increases, T delta S become more positive because delta S is positive. The value of delta G, the value of delta G become more negative. A reaction become more feasible. Reaction become more feasible. Reaction become more feasible.
सर डेल्टा जी नेगेटिव क्यों हो रहा है मोर नेगेटिव
देखो हमेशा याद रखना जब टी डेल्टा एस पॉजिटिव होगा तो डेल्टा जी खुद ब खुद नेगेटिव होगा जब टी डेल्टा एस नेगेटिव होगा तो डेल्टा जी खुद ब खुद पॉजिटिव होगा when you increase the temperature T delta S become more positive when T delta is positive plus minus minus delta G is more negative.
ओके सर
Okay, next question. Now 2022 May June variant 43. Now 2022 May June variant 43. Variant 43, yes. 2022 May June variant 43. Now equations are given. equations are given, you have to find the temperature. So temperature should be lesser than delta H over delta S. Am I right? Is the written formula is correct? Is the written formula correct? Is it delta H upon delta S or delta S upon delta H?
Sir, it's delta H upon delta S.
Okay, it means it's correct. Now put the value. Delta H is 132. Now delta S. Delta is equal to 616 divided by 1000. So it's 0.616. So 0.616. Just tell me the temperature.
Sir, 214.3.
14.3. So temperature is in Kelvin, right? This temperature is in
Yes.
Kelvin. But the required temperature is degree centigrade. So you have to subtract 273 from it. Now tell me the answer.
Minus 58.7.
Minus 58.7 degrees centigrade. So minus 58.7 degrees centigrade. Now calculate delta G. Calculate delta G. So step 1. Find delta S. Summation S product minus summation S reactant. Products are barium chloride dot 2H2O plus 8H2O minus BaOH2 8H2O plus 2 times NH4Cl
So we'll also add ammonia in the reactants. I mean in the products. 2 times
Oh.
ammonia.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now put the values. 2 times minus 192 plus 8 times 70 in the product we have solid. So this should be solid. Solid is 203. Solid is 203. While aqueous is 203 is 2H2O, right? And 8H2O is 427 plus 2 times 95. Yes, answer.
So 530.
530 joules per Kelvin per mole. So step 2, joules divided by 1000. 530 divided by 1000, it is 0.530 kilojoule per mole. Next is delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So delta H is, can you tell me the value of delta H? 133 minus temperature is 298, delta S is 0.530. Yes, can you tell me the answer? Yes,
So minus 24.94.
minus 24.94 kilojoule per mole. Okay. Now the chapter is nearly ended except the solubility of group 2 sulfate and hydroxide. So inshallah tomorrow we will discuss solubility of group 2 hydroxide or sulfate. Have we completed solubility of group 2 carbonate and sulfate? In the previous classes, have we completed this?
Oh yes, the carbonates and sulfates we have.
Okay, inshallah. Tomorrow we will do first we complete this solubility and then we will complete all the questions, right? We complete the whole past paper, right? Then we will start second topic, right? So if you have any question, you can ask. After the completion of the chapter, I will provide you the complete written notes, right, during the lecture, which we have studied, and the past paper copy, right? Any question? Okay, no question. Then Allah Hafiz.